Yeah, we do this thing once a month in Maker School called State of the Upwork. One of my community members, Aaron Melton, just kicked it off like 5 or 6 months ago, and it's just been a mainstay ever since. But basically, at the end of the month, he goes through all of the different popular keywords for job searches on Upwork, like Make.com, N8N, Zapier, GHL, Go High Level, and all these other platforms. And then he like kind of graphs it, and then he feeds it into AI for like a really, really high level and in-depth summary. And what we find is like Zapier was the king, believe it or not, even like 6 months ago. And so something like 34 or 35% of all automation jobs for Zapier on Upwork anyway, which is a freelance platform that I think is pretty representative of just the general market at this point. And there was like an inversion, like 4 or 5 months ago, where it was like Zapier was at 34% and then N8N was at like 32% or something. I'm butchering the numbers, but it's approximately similar. And then it was just like, it just flipped. And then N8N was like 40%, like Zapier was like 28% or something. So that was just a few months ago. And then this happened just like a month and a half ago. I mean, dude, this pace of change and like these new tools that are going to come out and become dominant, like this is just going to increase in frequency, 100%. Right? So the important part is not necessarily becoming an expert at a tool. It's just becoming the sort of person that is capable of finding information where they need it. You just need a very small foundational base of knowledge now. And then you need the ability to like ask AI tools, how the hell does this work? It's like Google, right? I mean, back in the day, if you wanted to learn something, you had to really be an expert who studied it for 20 years. And then if you wanted to like add on your knowledge, you had to go to the encyclopedia down at the local library and thumb through pages for 2 hours. Well, with Google, it's like, it doesn't actually matter whether or not you know the thing. It's just, can you find the thing when you need it? This is like that, just like 100 times as strong.
It's really well said. And it's so interesting the data you've got in our community, AI Automations by Jay. I was looking through all of the postings for jobs, and one of them, I noticed a change in language, and it didn't say looking to build an end-to-end workflow. So I'm looking for a vibe coder to build this thing.
Yeah.
Which I see as a proxy for Claude Code, building these different things. But it's like, I love it because it's just decreasing the delta between an idea and execution. And I think it's freaking sick. But here's a great news for everybody listening. There is no next thing. Like, we always say, Nick and I, that Make.com and N8N are these extraction layers. When you're in Claude Code, there's nothing else closer to the code. You are literally in the code. The only thing close to the code is, you're in the matrix. Basically, that's it. Like, now you're actually touching and feeling and configuring it. There's nothing else. I think once you learn how to master these principles and build things, I don't think there's any other tools. Realistically, it's just integrations, blocking your integrations down. And then I think it's techniques and the art of what's possible. The skill to manage databases is key. You have to understand that. You have to, I think, master your Superbases, your Firebases. You need some kind of good data management. But what I think is also really interesting here, Nick, is that as these things get easier to build, being great, like having a good taste for design becomes extremely valuable. Like the value of that skill has gone through the roof now because having taste, being able to write good copy has become more valuable. So I think there's something to be said about actually some of the differentiators once you've mastered it are these kind of adjacent skills that just like accelerate it.
Yeah, if I had to summarize it, I would say being good at stuff is not enough. You now have to be like exceptional at stuff, but there is disproportionate power in the hands of people that are exceptional at stuff. If you look at the people that submit the most, like, do the most PRs and stuff like that now on GitHub with Claude Code and Vibe coding tools, it's no longer like, it's not like junior engineers, like, a few years ago, which were all submitting the vast majority of all the push requests. Now it's like senior engineers, it's like VPs, it's like CEOs. It's because these people are obviously much closer to like, supposedly like the product or the vision or whatnot. Likewise, if you look at the people that are absolutely crushing it in cold email, it's not like the noobs because AI can now write copy better than the noobs. It's like the people that are super, super exceptional. And I think you just find this with any new technology. It's always the long tail. People that are just like the top 1% in the field will just crush with the new tech, displace like 99% of everybody else. And then they're just left to kind of fend for themselves.